At 40, I never thought I'd find love again. My life seemed perfect, a beautiful family with my wife and 3 kids under the age of 8. They were my whole world. But everything shattered the day I discovered my wife had been cheating. It was like a knockout punch that sent my entire existence spiraling. Filing for divorce was the hardest thing I'd ever done, and I convinced myself that I'd never experience love again. I was devastated, crying when no one was around, barely holding it together for the sake of my children. I thought, who would ever want to be with a 40-year-old divorced dad of 3, strapped for cash? Divorce takes a toll in more ways than one. In the middle of this emotional wreckage, a friend at work suggested I go out with one of her colleagues. I was skeptical at first. Who would want me, right? But she insisted, and eventually, I agreed. She introduced me to a beautiful blonde woman, someone who hadn't dated in nearly 8 years. She'd been burned by love too many times, but she trusted our mutual friend enough to take a chance on me. We met for lunch with a group of coworkers, and to my surprise, we clicked immediately. That night, I couldn't wait to call her, and we spoke for hours. By the time Friday rolled around for our first real date, it felt like we already knew each other so well. Our first kiss happened before we even sat down at the restaurant. In the bar, as we waited for our table, she leaned in, and the moment felt electric. By the end of the night, I told her I was falling in love with her. She didn't say it back immediately, but she didn't run either, and somehow, I knew she felt the same. The timing was uncanny. The very day the judge signed my final divorce decree, we got engaged. It was like the universe was telling me that I had been through the storm for a reason. In less than a month, it will be 19 years since we first met, and we've now been happily married for 17 of those years. What started as the darkest chapter of my life turned into the most beautiful thing I could have imagined. Every day, I'm grateful for what happened, even though it felt like my world was crumbling at the time. I wouldn't change a thing because it led me to where I am today with a woman who loves me, supports me, and understands me like no one else ever could. Falling in love at 40 taught me something profound. Sometimes, love dies to make room for a better, more fulfilling love. Life has a funny way of redirecting you to the right person, even if it takes going through heartbreak to get there. If there's one piece of advice I'd give anyone going through what I did, it's to never give up. Love will find you if you keep your heart open, even when it feels impossible.